In today's video, I take charge at Sevilla in Spain. Over the last 10 years, Sevilla have established themselves as the best of the rest in La Liga, outside of the big three of Atletico, Real Madrid and Barcelona. However, this year, they find themselves well off the pace in the league, only 4 points away from the relegation zone. As any decent FM YouTuber would surely say, they need a rebuild. Sevilla for today's rebuild, a team that in their history has won 6 Europa League titles since 2006, and yet has only won 1 La Liga title way back in 1946. That will be the aim of today's rebuild. Can we go and win that league title, which has been a long time coming for them? However, in real life, they had a shocking start to the season this year. After 14 games, they had only managed to win a couple of them and found themselves 18th in the table. It was a shocking start. They have since recovered slightly to this situation where they find themselves 4 points off that relegation zone, but up to 12th in the league. But it meant that they were primed for a rebuild. Another factor going into why they do need a little bit of a rebuild is the fact that so many of their squad are north of 30 now. They are aging. I've just highlighted here, look, any players that are above 30 years old, and you can see it's a pretty big percentage of their first team squad. They're going to need a new wave of players. They're going to need signings. They're going to need revolution, and that is what we're going to do in today's rebuild. Just the thing to show you straight away off the bat is that we're going to try something in this rebuild. We're going to try the overload. Is it back for FM23? We're going to test it in today's rebuild. It is the 3-striker formation. I've not used it at all in FM23. All of our other rebuilds have been very realistic, but do you know what? We're going to do it today for a bit of fun. We're going to go with 3 strikers all the way up there, look, with a shadow striker in behind these 2 midfielders. We're going to have some fun and hopefully take Sevilla from 18th in the league to the very top in today's rebuild. Does that sound good? If that sounds good, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on today's video. Let me know what you think we're going to do in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Sevilla's predicament in real life. I love to talk real football stuff with you as well. That's always good fun. But I think, as they always say, without further ado, let's get into it. I should mention as well, we are using a custom database here that reflects the start that Sevilla actually had in real life. I will throw the save file up onto the Patreon as well, so you Clayts members can use this and play with it if you want to. You also get access to the tactic that way as well. Just a little reminder on that. We're going to play from this point on here, from 18th in the league in December. I'm going to go and now do the January transfer window, show you who I sign, and that's where this rebuild will begin. Let's go and do some lovely signings. Okay, so it's the end of January, and straight off the bat, I think 3 strikers is still a thing in FM23. Look at these results since we took over. We took over from the Vigo game. It's now the end of January, and I mean, they've been quite good. We've scored 5 goals or more on 3 occasions. We've scored 3 goals or more on nearly every occasion. We've beaten Vigo, Murcia, Getafe, Leganes, Girona, Cadiz, and Real San Sebastian, which is Sociedad and Elche. 7-4 in the Spanish Cup there, look. I mean, yeah, 3 strikers might be very good. I've also, of course, made some signings to hopefully even boost this overload, this system that we are using. This is now what the team looks like. You will notice some new players in here, some big ones, if you like. The first of which I think is the fact that we've got Adama Traore playing up front as a striker, which is something I love to do. I think those pacey, strong players playing as a striker, especially in the front 3, because the pressing forwards on the outside here play like wingers. They can be so effective. Adama Traore is going to be great for us in this role. I just know it. Anyway, though, let me show you who the other players are that I've managed to bring in this January window, where we have spent quite a bit of money. If I go to most recently, we spent a bit of money, not all of it though. There was a bit beforehand is what I should say. There was Marcao and Nianzou beforehand. These, though, are the signings in January. Alex Grimaldo has come in at left back. He is a fantastic FM left back. I'm sure loads of you have signed him before. He starts at Benfica and he's just very well rounded. I see him as a little bit of a B-Tech Jose Gaia, who is just one of the best left backs on FM usually, right? Every year. Grimaldo, they really like him. He has been brought in for £20 million. Doesn't start at £20 million, although I mean, I haven't paid £20 million up front for him, although it does kind of say it there. It does rise to 21.5, but I have done a few installments, as I feel like, do you do that as well? Just use loads of installments? It seems to, I feel like it's quite realistic actually. A lot of clubs do this in real life, don't they? It means you can get so many players in to start with, build success, and then because of the success, you can afford the installments. It just makes most sense for me. That's what we've done with Grimaldo. A little bit of that with Firmino as well, the next signing here. 6'3", very me as a striker. He doesn't quite have the pace, but he has the height, which is so effective, especially in those front threes. Firmino is going to be one of our strikers. Adama Traore we looked at before, £8.5 million from Wolves in January. That is a bargain. I guess, was this maybe towards, I don't know. They wanted to get rid of him, clearly. He's not been a starter for them. He's only played 2 games for them all season. Look, since coming in, he's got a goal and 3 assists in his 3 games as well. 7.97. Again, we talked about him before. He's going to be so effective. And then finally, another striker. Tony Martinez is also going to play up front. 6'2", great finishing, really good, I mean, well-rounded attributes, really aggressive, good off-the-ball teamwork, work rate, a really good striker in a front 3 again. 6'2" is the main selling point with him. He's been brought in for £14 million from Porto. We have, interestingly, and I wonder whether I'm going to continue this now, because I quite like to have a bit of a theme with these videos. We've only brought in Spanish players, Martinez, Traore, Firmino and Grimaldo, all Spanish. Should we make this a bit of a Spanish theme and only bring in Spanish players? Because I feel like in terms of a tactic, we might be already there. This system is definitely going to get results. This is how the team looks. Bono in goal. He is our number one. We'll come back to that. Navas at right back is a really attacking, complete wing back, which is what we're playing with here. Telles as well is my boy. If you watched any of the FM22 videos, you know how much I love Alex Telles. Rekic and Nianzou are both decent centre-backs without being amazing. Nianzou I really like, actually, though. Tanguy Nianzou, just have a look at his profile. 6'3". Very me. I like him a lot. Rekic, not as much. I think he lacks in a little bit of pace, which is maybe something I'd look for. But he's left-footed and natural on this side, so I don't mind him. Thomas Delaney in front of the defence. We've got Rakitic, a great deep line playmaker. Really good passing on Ivan Rakitic. I think we know that. 17 passing look, 16 vision. He's great in a midfield 2 like this, with this many players in front of him to pick out. Gomez, we've got Rafa, Tony Martinez and Traore with players like Firmino on the bench who will get game time. There's really good options here, actually. This side is not in a bad position at all. It is a Champions League team. They're in the Champions League this year. However, in real life, they just started so poorly in the Champions League. They've really struggled as well. Did they go out, actually? They did qualify behind Ajax in their group in this save here. So we are going to have some knockout rounds coming up. We've got Juventus in the Champions League round of 16, so we can look forward to that as well. But I feel like we've built a decent team here. We're now up to 10th in the league as well, 19 games in, just over the halfway mark. Can we aim for Europe towards the end of this season? We've given ourselves a bit of work to do, but I feel like it's possible. We've built an exciting team. Martinez, since we've come in, has been the top goal scorer in the league. Look, this is only reflected from when we started the save because of the custom database thing, but he's got 5 goals, which is pretty decent as well. Let's get ourselves up to the end of the season and find out how we finish this one off. I'm excited to go and score a load more goals. I'll see you then. Okay, end of season number 1, and we have gone from 18th to 5th. We've managed to have a really successful season. The tactic continues to thrive. It's definitely working. We've finished on 62 points and qualified quite aptly, I feel, for the Europa League for next year. Maybe it would be perfect to go and win the Europa League next season. I feel like that'd be really nice to do. Let's make that an aim now. But in terms of how we've done, it's been pretty good. Let's have a look at the fixtures and the results here, I should say. From the point that we took over, which was after Vigo here, we had that fantastic start up into January. It didn't quite continue that way, although results were great. We did have some losses, so this isn't a perfect tactic by any regard. In fact, when you come up against a really good team, you can have catastrophic results. Barcelona are obviously really, really good. We lost 7-2 to them. We continue to lose to Barcelona quite a lot in the rest of this campaign. 7-2 look away from home. We're very, very attacking, and players like Bono can have a shocker in goal there, which doesn't help, does it? We lost 7-2, then we lost 4-2 in the Spanish Cup semi-final. That's where we went out of that competition. We did, though, have good results. 4-0 there. We lost to Juventus in the next round of the Champions League, by the way, on penalties. We had a really, really good go at them. Late equalised from Isco, took it to penalties, but it wasn't to be. We lost on that penalty shootout and out of the Champions League. No European trophy this year for Sevilla, but some other good results, some other poor results. It was very up and down, but mainly up, I would say, overall. You can see that we lost to Valencia, we lost to Villarreal, but we beat Bilbao, we beat Girona, we beat Espanyol, we beat Real Betis, look, 8-2, which was quite nice towards the end of the season here. A draw with Real Madrid at home. Overall, a very successful season. 18 wins from 38, 12 losses. from the start we had, down in 18th. I think we take that, right? From 14, I think it was 14 games in, we were down in 18th. We finished 5th. We've had some fantastic performances from players too. Let me show you the tactic here and the squad to show you some of the personal player stats. Have a look. Specifically, have a look at Rafa Mir, who got 26 goals and 8 assists as one of our strikers. Playing on this right-hand side, Adama Traore playing on the left got 12 goals, 13 assists. And then Tony Martinez got 17 goals in the centre position there. Very, very nice from that front three. It definitely is a thing. The three-striker thing is a thing. Maybe not as powerful as it has been previously. Maybe this needs a few little tweaks to get it firing in the way that it has done in the past. But overall, it's a pretty fun system to use. Lots of goals in it, definitely. That is certainly the case. From here, though, as a European team, again for next year, with still an aging squad. Look at how many players are over 30 now. Look, if I go through them, a lot of them is the answer. From this point, we need to do a bit of a revamp. We're going to go and do a load of transfers. I'm a bit worried that we're going to lose some of our players as well. Rafa Mir is wanted by Dortmund, and he won't sign a new contract and does have a minimum fee release of 40 million, which I think represents decent value. And when you get to that point, you are a little bit worried, aren't you? I wonder if he will go. If he does go, I guess it will finance a pretty big squad rebuild in the summer, which is always the aim in these types of videos, isn't it? I'm going to continue with the Spanish only thing, I think, as well. Let's go and sign some Spaniards for season number 2 and hopefully build us into a title contender. Is that maybe pushing it? I'm going to try for it anyway. I'll see you when I've done some transfers. Okay, big summer revamp. Check. This has been a busy summer of transfers. I've spent £233 million on this Sevilla team that is going into the Europa League. But we've also raised £106 million. So actually, it's very, very doable, this type of transfer window, because of the future incentives and the installments that you can use. Actually spending this much wasn't too much of a big deal. We brought in decent money, one of those being that Rafa Mir thing that I did fear. He was our #1 striker last year, but Liverpool have actually gone and used his release clause. £40 million brought in straight in as well. Pure cash has meant that we've been able to do quite a lot of transfers this summer. He was the big sale of this season. Oscar, the midfielder, also went to Dortmund for £25 million. Montiel, the right back, for £10 million. Augustinson for 7.5. Marcal for 7.25. Delaney went. Rekic went. Idrissi, Dimitrovic, and then a couple of frees. One of them being Isco as well. His wage is now off the books too. Is useful, as well as Ronnie Lopez. Those transfers out meant that I could go and spend and splash the cash, which is exactly what we've done. As you can see already, it is exactly what we've done. We'll start at the bottom. The first one being Sergio Rico, brought in as a backup goalkeeper, which the sweetest thing about this is that if Bono was to pick up an injury, we could bring him in. He's 6'5" as well. Hopefully doesn't have too much vertigo with that height. Bono puns. I'm sorry. We also brought in Marcos Alonso as a backup left back for £4.3 million. Still all Spanish, these signings as well, which I think is really fun. I think it adds a little bit to this as well. Raul Torrente for £5 million. Young left-footed centre-back. A bit of a Rekic replacement. Monchu in the midfield. I really like him as an option in our midfield too. Again, quite cheap at £8 million. Hugo Duro, next one from Valencia. Got a good feeling about him. I like a left-footed striker, especially when we play with these three strikers. He's a young Spanish striker who I think is really, really well-rounded. Look, I like him a lot. 6 foot as well. Always a decent plus point as well. George Cuenca, a centre-back who used to be amazing on FM back in the day when he was at Barcelona. I think in his early years, you could sign him and he would always turn into a really good centre-back. He's still decent. 6'2", left-back again. A bit of a replacement for the outgoing Rekic there. And then up to this one. Now, this one, this guy's going to be good. He just is. He's got that 16 finishing. Ferran Jutgla, I've seen him be brilliant in our Discord network game for one of our players in there beyond, and I'm hoping he can replicate that in this save here. For 17 or so million pounds from Club Bruges in Belgium, look, he scored goals there as well. I've got a feeling he's going to be a decent option for us up front in our 3 strikers. You'll notice I've tried to sign a lot of strikers because we play with 3 of them. You want to have those rotation options as well, don't you? Saul has come in the midfield, a really good, I think, for La Liga. It didn't quite work for him at Chelsea, did it? But in a La Liga team, I think it's a good option to have Saul in our midfield. £24 million, rising up to 28. Pedro Porro, one of the best right backs on the game for me. Pedro Porro, of course, moved to Spurs now in real life. I'm so happy with this signing. He is going to make us so much better at right back, replacing Montiel, who moved to Porto. Porro comes in, another Spaniard in our Spanish signings. Then two big ones. Dani Olmo from Leipzig. Love Olmo on FM. Love him, love him, love him. So good to play as this shadow striker or as the DLP just behind that as well. One of those two roles in our midfield. Dani Olmo, though, what an FM player he is. And then finally, Eric Garcia at only 6 foot. He's a bit short for me, but he is just pure star quality to come into our defense. Those Spanish signings then are going to make our side look like this in the tactic. Olmo in behind the strikers, Juro, Traore, Martinez up front, Monchu, Saul, Cuenca, Garcia, Porro, Grimaldo, and then Bono in goal. To be honest, I don't really feel like it matters which keeper is in goal. With or without him, I feel like we're going to be 6. I'm so sorry. Let's get into this second season and hopefully push towards the top of that table. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I just wanted to pause briefly in January of season number 2, mainly to show you how many goals Ferran Jutgla is scoring in this side. He's now on, it's January the 1st, and he scored 24 goals already this season in all competitions. He is outrageous. Overall, the tactic is still continuing to be brilliant. However, it's still so difficult to compete with Real Madrid and Barcelona. Barcelona have only dropped points in 3 games so far. They are 4 points clear at the top, 18 games in. Even though we are sensational and we've won 13 of our 18, 42 points, with Jutgla scoring so many goals, it still feels like Barcelona are going to win the title this year. The results have been so good for the first half of this season. There are some losses in there. We're doing okay in the Europa League as well, even though we lost to Leicester 3-0. But we're beating teams like Bilbao 5-1. Look, Jutgla scored twice. Tony Martinez scored twice in this one as well. We're winning games for 7-0 in the Europa League there, look. But we are still losing games to Barcelona 4-1. They have our number well and truly. Every time we play them, we seem to lose to them. But I just wanted to show you and pause briefly here almost to say that we're really good. However, Barcelona are also really good. So whether we go on to win it in this season, I'm not so sure. We're going to come back at the end of the year to find out. But we're still good. We're doing really well. Have a look at some of the player stats. Have a look at the system, the tactic here. Look, I'll see you at the end of season number 2. Okay, at the end of season number 2, we have had a storming season, but we still couldn't beat Real Madrid and Barcelona. The big two in Spain are going to be so difficult to crack. I think, though, one more season is maybe what we need. We've got the makings of an amazing team here. Have a look at the goal-scoring exploits of our front 3 here. Jutgla, Juro, and Tony Martinez are all superstars. 30 goals or more on all of them. 40 goals from Ferran Jutgla. 40 goals, 6 assists. That is outrageous. He's been playing as the... Well, he's played as all 3 of the roles, actually. But as the central striker here, look at his profile. Why is this guy such a goal-scoring machine? I guess he does have really good finishing off the ball work rate. Maybe that's it. He doesn't have lightning pace. Good pace, 15, 14. But there's no reason why this guy's as good as he is. He's really good. Sign him in your saves. He's a high recommendation of mine now because he just does the business, really. 40 goals from him. Martinez got 31. Juro got 34 from the left-hand side with his left foot, look. He reminds me actually a little bit of Enrique Arroco at Benfica in terms of the way that he looks, but a left-sided version of him. I guess Jutgla's not too far off this as well. Another player that just seems to score goals, even though his attributes don't necessarily jump out as you. As an elite striker, I really like him too, just as an aside there. Hugo Jura's been great. Our Spanish players have been brilliant this year, but they haven't won the league. That is because we finished 7 points off Real Madrid in second and 14 points off Barcelona at the top. They had a really good season, Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski's got 29 goals in the league, above Jutgla, who got 27. We just couldn't quite keep up with them, even though we are doing the business. Have a look at these results here. Look, really, really good. The main thing, though, from this season is that we've now qualified for the Champions League again, meaning the caliber of player that we can bring in, hopefully, is going to be really, really good. We're going to have a look at those superstar Spanish players. But the main big thing from this season is we've done it again. We've once again won the Europa League. It was Marseille in the final. We've got ourselves a 7th Europa League trophy with a 3-1 win on the night. Juro, Nianzou and Olmo with the goals. I mean, it's just great news, isn't it? Rico actually started that final because one of the big things actually that I'm finding is that Bono doesn't have hands as a goalkeeper. We need to replace him. So I've been on the lookout. I'm looking for a Spanish goalkeeper, but I still haven't found what I've been looking for. Yeah, that's one. I think that is one step too far. I need to sell him so that I can stop doing the puns, I think. Right, next what we're going to do is we're going to do a big summer revamp. Once again, season number 3 signing is going to be bigger and better than any of them so far. We're going to come back and go for the league title in season 3. Let me show you who I'm going to buy. Season 3 signings through the door, and there are some big names in here. Let me show you then that we've spent £82 million. We've sold players for £27.5 million. But the most important thing here, it's a beautiful day because Bono is no longer our number one. Kepa has arrived from Chelsea. £9 million for Kepa to join. He is better than Bono is the main thing here. He's going to be our new number one. And have a look at some of these names coming in as well. The big one in defense, Pau Torres, one of my absolute faves as a defender in Football Manager 2023, in 22 and 21 as well, actually. Pau Torres from Villarreal has arrived for £39 million, rising to £50 million. Big money spent on him as our 82 million. Look, about half of it was on Pau Torres. Carlos Soler, love him. Really brilliant midfielder, winger, cam, CDM if you wanted him to be as well. Love Carlos Soler. He's arrived from PSG. He is a former Valencia player. Kepa, we talked about. Jordi Alba's come in as a free transfer at left back. Don't know if he's going to get games. We will see whether he gets into the team. Javi Manquillo as well, a former Liverpool legend. That one is a free transfer too. And then finally, a big one this, and not something we do all that often really on this channel, is a loan signing. Ansu Fati has joined on loan from Barcelona. He was playing, I mean, pretty regularly last year for Barcelona. Only 11 starts, I suppose. They're going to allow him to come to us. We're going to pay £1.3 million for him. There is a future fee of 171 million as well if we want to do that. Going to guess probably not. But he's in for this season. I think he's going to offer us something a little bit different. Maybe playing him either as a striker or in behind the strikers. I'm not quite sure how we're going to use him yet. But he's fantastic, Ansu Fati. Those are our transfers in. We did sell players like Villa, went to United for 10 million. Monchu for 10 million to Sociedad. Torrente, who we brought in, also has gone back out for 6 mil. And then Carmona for 1.2. Thank you, Sociedad, for financing this. The team now looks a little bit like this, with one or two changes to come in here. We're going to decide where we use players like Ansu Fati as well. But something like this, look. Kepa in goal. Porro, Garcia, Torres, Grimaldo, Campagna, Soler, Porto, who is now playing for us, look. He is joined for... In fact, that one's the one that I missed. I need to go back and show you some extra transfers here as well. If I go back, there were some that came in before it had ticked over to the new season. Porto being one of them. Really like him. Especially, he's a good player to pick up in draft mode usually as well. Really cheap. He is a decent option too. He will come in as well, just to show you. I don't think there was anybody else that was before the tick over. Oh yeah, Malero as well was before the tick over that you might have missed as well. Sometimes it does that in FM, doesn't it? But the squad now looks like this. Juggler, Juro, Tony Martinez still off. Strike Force, that front three is sensational. We've got a good La Liga squad. We've got a really strong La Liga squad. Players like Saul, Nianzou and Olmo to come into this as well when they're not suspended or injured. This team, I think, can go and challenge for the title. In fact, we're fourth favourites, but I think we can go for it this year. Europa League winners, Champions League is going to be played this year too. Can we win the title with our amazing overload system, which just seems to score so many goals? How many will Juggler get this year? Let's find out by going to the end of the season. Come on. Okay, then, there it is. It is, as I almost expected, a La Liga title for Sevilla. 100 points, a first La Liga title since 1946. What a season, what a team, what a battle, actually. Real Madrid, 93 points, really went hammer and tong until the end. Barcelona really fell off, actually, from last year. 74 points. From where they finished on 90-something last year, to go and drop down to 74 is quite the change. Maybe because we took Fati. Probably not that, but that did happen. We are the champions on 100 points. And have a look at these player stats. Have a look at this side. Have a look at this tactic. Once again, the three strikers were thriving. We had goals from Juggler, 23, 27 from Martinez, 19 from Juro. Maybe not quite as prolific as the season before, but they were rotating a little bit more than at previous seasons too. Fati Look scored 18 goals. Traore scored 13 too. Maybe just sharing out those goals a little bit more. Maybe actually that's helped to turn us into the team that we are. Kepa was much better in goal. Porro, Garcia, Pau Torres and Grimaldo were a fantastic defence. Saul played a load of games. Got himself 7 goals, 5 assists. Soler got 10 assists. Look, Dani Olmo in behind those strikers. 14 assists, 11 goals. So useful as our shadow striker there. Just have a look on the bench too. Lots of performances. Lots of good performances from some of our squad players. That's what has changed us from being, you know, also runs, finishing third, to becoming the team in La Liga this year. It was a glorious season. I mean, what a start to the season. If you go from August up until Real Madrid in November, we won every single game. We did lose the Super Cup to Bayern Munich, but take that out of the equation. We won every game until the 9th of November. And even then, it was a draw against Real Madrid. Unbeaten until the 4th of December, where we lost to Almeria at home, which was a bit of a shock, but it didn't put us off too much. We ended up getting those 100 points. Look at some of the results in here. I really want to show you as well. This one here. This felt like a big moment. Was it this one? We did play them. We played them there. Where else did we play them? We beat... Oh, yeah, this one. This is the one I'm thinking of. This was a big one. Barcelona at home. We beat them 2-0. A comfortable victory against that team that they always beat us up until this point here. We did back it up as well with a cup victory as well later on in the season. 2-0 in the Spanish Cup quarterfinal. Juckler with 2 goals in that one as well. Look, we did draw to them in the final game against them, but I feel like that's a good measure of the progress that we've made. We've gone from losing 7-2 to them to beating them 2-0 comfortably. It's a big change. It's a big amount of growth for this football team. Finishing our season with a 5-2 win against Alaves. It has been brilliant from our lads with this 4-2-1-3 system. A liquid overload is what we've called it. I know it's a pretty OP tactic. We're having a bit of fun. If you want this tactic, it will be on the Claytreon. I'll maybe upload it separately to the save file so that you can actually go and get it nice and easily. If you want to join the Claytreon and support us over there, you get your name in the videos as well. But it's been a fun rebuild, this one. A really fun one, actually. Been good to only bring in those Spanish players as well, to have a bit of a theme to it. The team has ended up looking like this. A La Liga winning Sevilla team. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do leave a like on it. And if you want to see future videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell on for notifications as well. We're trying to do a load of different content this year, and I'm having some fun doing it too. Thank you for supporting. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching today. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye. Just me good. Little bit of rose, stand in the line and you go. Little bit of moonshine, little bit of me. Little bit of rock and roll with me. That's actually a pretty good impression of it as well.